I mean, it's up to you.
Oh, got it.
Okay, so it's 6:34 on Monday, September 18th. I'm going to call this meeting of President's Council, the first meeting of the new school year, to order. So welcome, everyone. We look forward to another exciting year at all of our PA-PTAs. I'd like to just make a mention, as Esther had, just to follow up with her for anyone who's just joining. If you could put your school in the front of your name so we know for record taking purposes who's who of District 25's President's Council. So on that note, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Dr. D'Antona so he can do his presentation, and welcome to President's Council, Dr. Mike.
Thanks so much, Rachel, and hi everyone. Happy to be here with you guys tonight for what marks my first President's Council meeting with you guys as interim acting superintendent. So I'm really happy to be here with you guys tonight. I want to share briefly with you just kind of what I intend to do on a listening to learn tour. It's a little bit of a spin on the way that it was kind of done last year within the context of me really going out to a variety of locations to gather feedback from the community around things that we're doing well, things that we might need to think about in terms of strengthening, and then just in general advice for me in this role is kind of how I'll kind of go through just some of the context of this presentation, and also included in that, I'm going to share with you the district priorities that we've established at this point to get some feedback from you. So I'll share my screen. Okay, so welcome back to everyone. We're now a week plus into the school year. We have had a really good start this year. We were able to visit all of our schools. We had team members from across our district team engaging in school visits, checking in on schools, supporting them as necessary. And one of the things that I've noticed for sure was that the kids were really eager and excited to be back. As well as our staff and administrators welcoming them back into the building for the first time since June. So it was really a really nice return for us to start the school year off. We are off and running, instruction's happening in our classrooms, and we're super excited for what's ahead of us this school year. Let me just make this full screen, sorry. In late August, we did engage in District 25 Reads in the Park event. We partnered with Councilmember Ung, Wendy from CEC, as well as our district team organized an event. We had well over 1,000 people there. We distributed over 5,000 books to our community, and it was really super exciting. When you do these things, you hope that you're going to get a big turnout, and then when you look up and there's already 100-person line, and you still have 40 minutes before the start of the event, it was super exciting to see. So what I would really love, and I'm hoping to continue certainly with CEC, and would love to partner with the President's Council on organizing, as many opportunities during the year for these types of events, because people come out. If not for nothing else, certainly the books were nice. But I think there was just the ability to be able to get out, get into the park, and enjoy each other's company for something like that. It was really time very well spent, in my opinion, for our community. And I'm looking forward to doing more of these as the year goes on. Just a reminder, this is National Hispanic Heritage Month. We will be connecting with our schools to capture the things that they're doing across this month to celebrate this the Hispanic heritage. We will be sharing it with you guys during the next President's Council meeting, if that's okay with you, as well as CEC meetings and so on. As you know, our district-wide vision is around strong roots, strong schools. We're going to continue to sustain this vision. As this year goes on, I am going to ask for feedback from you around what this actually means to you. And are we doing what we believe our intent is behind it, which is really building strong foundations in our kids to be really solid, strong readers, to become problem solvers and critical thinkers. That's what the real intent of this work is. In addition to the collaboration part of it, where we're coming together as a community. So that's kind of part of where we are with our district-wide vision statement. And I do hope that we can come back together on this, as there might be some adjustments that are necessary that our parents and our kids and community believe we should make. So we will revisit that. I'm not going to read this to you. Our district mission is really around promoting those high expectations for our kids, student engagement, critical thinking, problem solving, creating space for mental health and social emotional learning supports is really, in a nutshell, what we really believe in. And the one that's most important, and I talked about today, we did the same type of event with our staff across our district schools. And the one thing I wanted to make sure resonated with our teachers was that regardless of what position you're in, including and especially my own, is that learning never stops. And we have to continue to be learners as educators to make sure we're doing right by our kids. And for me, that is one of the biggest pieces of language that I've been providing our schools, is that we have to learn and get better at our craft so that our kids can get better at their own as learners. So that's a big message that I will be sending throughout the year for our schools. This is accessible to you on our school site, www.d25.nyc/about-us. This is a place for you guys to go, and you'll see a variety of different things, including our team members. This will give you an idea of who we have on our team, what it is that they do in terms of their roles, and support for the district. We have student service members. Ms. Mitchell, serves and supports our schools with student services, operations, facilities. Lewis, as you know, he's been a part of President's Council for the past 8 years in terms of supporting it. 9, I think we're in now, Lewis, with supporting President's Council in a variety of ways, as well as our community schools, connecting with them and making sure that they have access to whatever they need to be successful. We also have an instructional team that supports literacy, mathematics, and social studies, as well as English language learner support. The members include Anna Arrigo, Melinda Willens, and Beth Eaton. Melinda and Anna will be focused on rollout of HMH into reading for our elementary school kids and into literature for our middle schoolers. Beth Eaton is our math lead. She's focused on providing professional support for all of our math teachers in district. Michelle Lee is our multilingual learner administrator. She supports all of our schools with ensuring that there are instructional supports in place to support teachers of ELS. And as you know, one of the pieces of language we use here is that if you're a teacher in District 25, you're a teacher of ELS. So it is something that we do enforce and support with Michelle at the lead. We have 2 intervention specialists that are really there to support kindergarten through 2nd grade literacy, particularly with Foundations and Hegarty. Those are the 2 foundational programs that we use across our schools. Both of these ladies are connected with buildings and providing in-person coaching support and professional learning for our teachers and building leaders in rolling out those programs. Diana Stein is our health and wellness district instructional lead. She supports not only all of the district sports teams in the district, which we have many, but she also supports the implementation of MindUp, which I'll talk to you about in a few moments, which is our social emotional learning program that we're using across schools. Amanda and Blair are both new to our district team. We're very happy to have them. One of them is going to serve as our teacher center coach, and we'll be connected with a number of our district schools to provide coaching support and rollout of the HMH into reading program. And Blair Brager, different title, but similar type of role. She will be providing professional learning and in-school coaching for our schools. Debbie Winkler is our teacher development and evaluation coach. She is someone who helps support our schools with the Danielson framework. She's also someone with an L background and supports our English language learners, coupled with Michelle Lee. So really important work that she does. Tracy Vaughn is what's called our APA, Academic Policy, Performance, and Assessment. So she's all things data, programming, does an amazing job at making sure that our kids that need to be serviced in special education and English language learner support are receiving those services, connects with schools frequently to make sure that all of our kids are programmed accordingly. And then we have our student services team and Ellen special education compliance folks. Nathan, who will be doing a training later on this fall, this early fall for our CEC, just around special education and parents' right to know. I can't express the importance of this enough, that we do need our parents to make sure that they know what their rights are. So Nathan will be providing supports for our families in that area. And we can certainly have him come here too, if you'd like, during President's Council, if that's something that you wish for him to do. We do think it's very, very important. But he makes sure that all of our schools are also receiving any kind of support that they need to ensure that our kids receive the services that they are due, as well as Richard Braun. He does a similar type of thing for our English language learners. Greg Yankovic is our student service manager. He supports our counselors, supports our schools with social emotional learning, as well as our school case teams, which I'll talk about in a few moments. And Wing Chung is our district social worker. She also provides supports from mental health, social emotional learning supports, as well as outreach to community organizations to assist in anything that our families might need. So we do have a variety of built-in supports for our district. Austin Stout is our district attendance coordinator. He is there to support all of our schools with chronic absenteeism and supporting improved attendance across the district. This is an extremely important one for us at the district level. Superintendent, now Chief Domingo, has mentioned many times in the past, and I echo the sentiment that our kids do need to be in school. We know that we're not asking for our children to come in when they're sick, but we want to make sure all other opportunities that they are in the building and learning. So Austin's role is to engage in that work. Janet is my administrative assistant. She supports scheduling and all the things that are aligned with that. Marissa Martin is our community coordinator. She helps develop and organize our events like New York City Reads. She'll be supporting future ones that we have coming down the pike, which I will announce during the President's Council meeting that's coming up in October. But we do plan to have 2 events in October that Marissa will be organizing, where it will be another type of book giveaway in the park to promote reading in our district. So there will be 2 more of those events coming up that we're partnering with CEC and both Councilmember Ung and Palladino to support this moving forward. Marissa does a lot of that legwork. And our last 2, obviously, you know Esther. Esther is all things leadership for our families. So we really appreciate all that Esther does to make sure that President's Council is supported, CEC is supported, monthly meetings with our parent coordinators and so on. And the same goes for Jenny, who supports all things in terms of outreach coming from our community, so that anyone who has any needs from our family members or our local electeds, that they are reached out to and connected with. So our Listening to Learn tour, there are going to be 6 locations. PS 20, 129, 164, 184, 185, and 214 have been identified to provide access to these visits. They're either first or second year principals. That was done deliberately to make sure that we can connect with our newer folks inside of their schools, make sure that they are as visible as possible, while giving me the opportunity to do the very same thing for our families in those areas. These are open to anyone in our community, and I'm hoping to see as many people there as possible to offer me feedback to make improvements. So last year, the 90-day plan will hopefully be done within the next couple of days, and I will make it public to the community. Last year was focused on, if you see in the middle of the tree, excellence, equity and diversity, wellness and safety, engagement and empowerment. We do intend to continue in those areas, but through the idea of multi-tiered systems of support, aligned professional learning, shared and inclusive curriculum, and partnering with the community. That is kind of the approach that we're going to take to make sure that our schools have all that they need to be successful. You will see, by the way, there are lots of Bitmojis of me. Lewis has actually added the eyeglasses on for me this year. The eyeglasses are new for me, as I'm realizing that the more I look at computers, the less I can actually see in real life. So the eyeglasses have now become a thing, and you can see how it's become a fixture on my Bitmoji. But something you'll also see is this stronger piece. So, you know, we talked about last year that we wanted to start off strong. This year we want to start off even stronger. And part of that stronger work is really around something that we did talk about last year, these whole idea of strategic review of data, targeting areas of need, researching solutions, implementing new learning, gathering feedback. But this last part around evaluating and studying and responding with action are things that, for me, are really, really important. It's about us learning, as I mentioned at the very beginning, but not only just learning what we see is happening inside of our schools, but responding with a really very clear action plan from building to building around what's next. So it's something that you're going to hear me talk about during these meetings, but also with our building leaders and staff, that it's our job to learn. We have to learn to make sure that we're here for our kids and our community. So that's going to be something you'll hear me talk about quite a bit. Areas of focus going to be very similar to last year. The difference this year as compared to last year is a rollout of the HMH programs as well as the Mind Up programs. Focus on MTSS will remain consistent. That's something that we talked about all last year, as well as implementation of Hegarty and Foundation, the two foundational programs that we have in District 25. Okay. Now, very quickly through our priority areas. Priority one, the Chancellor set out 5 priorities for New York City, and we've aligned our work to those priorities. The first one being all children learn to read well. In district, we did see improvement with our work last year, so we do want to sustain and continue to build on the implementation of Foundations and Hegarty. We want to increase by a minimum of 5% from where we were last year, which means that we would be in the upper 60% range for kids overall in District 25 by the time they got through grade 2, is what the intent is, through, again, implementation of Hegarty and Foundations. Our second priority is around the implementation of Mind Up. One of the things that we did notice across schools is that the number of level 3, 4, and 5 infractions was higher than what we would have liked. Many of those 3 and 4 infractions are of the nature of horseplay, things that happen during recess, you know, who's playing with the ball, who wants the ball, those types of infractions. We're looking to make sure that we reduce those inside of our schools. The Mind Up program is all around social emotional learning and making sure we're making responsible decisions. So a lot of this rollout of this work will be designed to organize so that that we see a reduction in the number of incidents in our buildings. Priority 3, this is all around the rollout of HMH. Again, so that we result in a minimum of 5% improvement across our school year, as evidenced by the iReady and New York State assessments. We're really going to be paying attention to real explicit instruction in our classrooms, as well as targeted small group instruction for our learners. The HMH offers opportunities for our teachers to not only deliver their mini lessons, allow kids to practice, but also during that practice, identify children that need some of that additional support or additional enrichment so that they're receiving what they need during work time. So this is going to be a big push for us across our schools. Priority 4 is around mathematics. You know, we've been talking about Regents readiness for quite a while now. And what we have seen is that we're allowing more children to take the assessment, but we're not necessarily seeing the readiness for all kids to do really, really well on those Regents exams. So we do want to start at a younger age, start beginning our conversations in grade 5, although algebra begins in pre-K. Because we're rolling out HMH right now, we did not want to necessarily roll out new things in the early childhood as well at this time. So we have identified the upper grades to begin having these conversations around algebra readiness so that our kids that are aligned to take the Regents are more successful moving forward. We did meet this year's goal for all students in terms of the Regents exam. We had about 65% of our kids score 80 and above on the Regents, which was above our goal. but we still have a lot more work to do there to make sure that all kids are performing at that same rate. And lastly, the last goal is around parent engagement, parent involvement, and how do we bolster that in the district. Our results from school surveys often indicate that favorable responses from our families, 96, 97, 98% of families indicate that they're satisfied or give favorable responses about how the school is working with them. The one area that was on the lower side was involvement, and that was at 90% across our schools. So we do want to make sure that we're connecting with that in a little bit of a different way, really promoting not just this idea of workshops. I think workshops are great, don't get me wrong, but I think that, you know, the more we can bring our families together in community, in concert with maybe some information, I think is all the better. So we're really going to be working towards that end of growing this work for our schools and bolstering involvement in our buildings. So this is the part of the tour that I would love some feedback from everyone here in terms of the things that you believe the district is currently doing well, the things that we need to strengthen, and the things that you might have advice for me to be mindful of as I embark on this journey as interim acting superintendent. So, you know, I would love for any of you to kind of either share in the chat if you feel so inclined to share in the chat, or you can even at a later date add things into either the email at event@d25.nyc or online using this feedback form if you don't want to necessarily do that now. But in any of those three areas, I'd love to hear what you guys have to offer in terms of feedback. I always love hearing from our families. So I'm gonna stop sharing, and if there's anything that you guys would like to kind of indicate, I would appreciate that.
Don't be shy. Come on.
You know, it's one of those on the spot types of things. So, I mean, if it's not now, I would love for you to respond inside of the feedback forms that are there. It just does give me a little bit of extra guidance around what those next steps might be for our community, because there's always
Dr.
something
Mike,
else to do better. Yeah.
Sorry, I thought it's Lewis. I thought it was somebody writing something. I was like, Dr. Mike, you have something. But it's Lewis. It says, what are we doing well? What areas do we need strengthened? What advice do you have for me? There we go.
Well, I have the advantage of being asked these questions already in a DLT meeting, so I will share what I think we're doing well, and that is supporting the families. I think the district is doing a great job at supporting not just us as parent leaders, but the families in general. Especially our school, I know, had a lot of new parents in all grades, not just kindergarten, and that was something that I feel went very well with them coming into the new school community. And my words of advice were the same, which was take it one day at a time.
Thank you, Rachel.
Dr. Mike, you do have Lisette Quiñones on the chat that said, well, communicating with schools.
Yes, I saw that. Thanks for that, Lisette. Any other thoughts or comments?
Well, I have one bit of advice. I do assessment surveys for our PTA all the time, and I find that parents do not necessarily tell the truth on all those surveys. So, for instance, if they say they're 98% like happy or 90% helping and being included in things, it's probably way less than that. Because, for instance, on our assessment survey for this year, I asked, what is your level of involvement with PTA, and a lot of them said they volunteer this or that, and I've never seen any of these people before in my life. So just to like say like the level that they say they are doing things is probably not accurate.
Thank you, Christelle. You know what's interesting is that, you know, you look at any research theory, it always and often indicates that surveys, while good at giving you a snapshot, is not always the most reliable form of data that comes back. I kind of look at it as means of giving me a little bit of a snapshot of information, and then to ask the next question. You know, so what's the next question that we have that will support our ability to make a positive change? which is why I love these types of this ability to be able to communicate in this type of space, because you get to hear things like that, right? Like, you know what, that doesn't necessarily tell you all of what you need to know, you know, which is why I like being able to communicate in forums where you get to have just people be their honest selves. And, you know, I mean, I can say in surveys before myself that I've done things where I might have hit agree where in my gut, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I really agree with that, you know, so I get it. Yeah. Thank you for that. Any other comments? And please, as the year is going on, I really encourage you to let me know anything that you feel that's important for me, to learn more about. And yes, the surveys that go out to families are on the school survey. We don't get necessarily an individualized set of statements on it. At least I don't believe that they release that. It's just really more or less how our families kind of responded to them. Oh, I like that, Lizette. Thank you. Around, you know, any areas where there may be grants available. And honestly, I'll echo that too. If you guys hear of any grants that are accessible too, that you feel that the district could kind of connect with, I can certainly follow up with that as well. Okay, everyone. I as you know, I welcome anything that you want to share. And I will be here for you guys. And if you need anything, you know how to get me. Certainly reach out to the district, Esther, and I'll be happy to connect with you in any way that, you know, makes your role as PTA presidents a little bit easier. I know that it is a tough job for you guys too. So thank you for all that you do for our schools. It's certainly very appreciated.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mike, for being with
got
us tonight and for sharing your vision. We greatly appreciate it. We look forward to the Listening to Learn tour. Okay, so now I'm going to pass the mic over to Ms. Maludo. Esther, take it away.
Where is she at? No, I'm joking. We still have people coming in. If you just enter the room, if you can please add your school to your name so we can know what school you're here from. As of right now, we have 13 schools present and counting. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so I could go ahead and. Can you see my screen, people?
Yes,
Yes?
I see Zoom.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so welcome to today's meeting, 9/18/23. I want, no, it's playing tricks on me. Okay. So I wanted to go ahead and give a thank you to the past board. And I don't know what happened to the rest of the names, sorry, but Francis Gonzalez and Jahar Burton. I know Angela Lamb and Carlos and Rachel, who were part of it. I'm sorry for that, the screen disappearing on me. But I also wanted to welcome the new board. Rachel, who's your president for 499, Carrie Ann Burberry from 165, who's a recording secretary, and Crystal Sells from 79, who will be your treasurer. They will be giving you full reports on the money. As you know, during pandemic, the treasurers, the bank has not been touched, but there's money in there. We will go ahead and get that squared out so they could be a full report on that. Thank you for stepping up, and thank you for making District 25 in compliance by being President's Council. For all the PTA presidents that are here, this is the place where you come to learn, where you come to ask questions, and you come to turnkey all the information that you hear. This is a place where if you know your school is, after you learn something and you know your school's not following, you don't go back as police. You just go ahead and say, listen, at President's Council, they said this, moving forward, we're going to be doing it right, whatever that might be. Okay, hold on a second. A lot of questions have been coming up on meetings. Could they be in person? Could they be online? Could they be hybrid? As a PTA, you have to follow your school's bylaws. If your school bylaws were amended and following FACE's advice to go ahead and amend it during pandemic, which would say virtually, then you're on speed. You could have your meetings, you can continue to have your meetings virtually, or you could go ahead and have them in person, and you could have that option to have them hybrid. Now, the only exception is if you're having an election, it has to be either or. That means everybody's in person or everybody's online to host that election. But this is something you have to discuss with your board, then bring it up to your PAPTA to see what you're going to do. The same thing goes for President's Council. As of right now, President's Council is via Zoom. If the board members, they decide to go ahead and bring it up to vote, that's something that all of you could discuss. I wanted to give you the status on District 25. As you know, District 25 is composed of 36 schools, 2 of them which are pre-K center. As of today, Monday 9/18, 33 of our schools are in compliance and have successfully had a PAPTA election. 3 of our schools are having election as soon as possible. 2 are having elections this Wednesday, 9/20, and 1 of them will have it Thursday, 9/28. We hope that everybody has a successful election. That way we would be 100% in compliance. This is just a meeting, our meeting schedule for these meetings. And everything's here, so you could go ahead and I'll show you where you could go to find out any more information. So our District 25 President's Council, thanks to my colleague Louis, he set it up where every month it's the same link every time. And you would visit our website at District 25, which is www.d25.nyc.
Can I talk about this a little bit, Esther? Can I say one thing? Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
So we never share our Zoom link directly with you because I don't know if you've ever been at a PTA meeting and something happens, you have to change the link last minute, and then no one who has the old link, who has the new link. So we just put everything on our district website. So Esther and I can change the link at any time. We can change to Zoom, we can change to Teams, we can change to Google Meet. And all you would have to know is I'm just going to the President's Council page on the district website and clicking join the meeting, and it doesn't matter what the link is. So it's a good practice for you guys when you're having PTA meetings if they're virtual. If you have a website or if you have a page on the school's website, don't send families the Zoom link, send them to your website, and that way they just click join the meeting, the link could be right there, and then you can change it at any time and change platforms or whatever you have to do. Also the link to a website is usually a lot easier to type in than a long Zoom meeting link. So as far as like on a flyer, it's much easier to say, go to juniorhighschool194.com versus this long website. So that's why we do that. Go ahead, Esther.
Thank you, sir. Where to go ahead and find information? Can move this. All right. Oops, sorry. Where to go ahead and find information for your PAPTA. So the first stop, if you, of course, our District 25 website, where you're going to find the link, you're going to find the calendar, you're going to find everything, and I'll go into it so you could see it a little bit. The NYC website, the New York City website, which is www.schools.nyc.gov, and you would go to Parent and Parent-Teacher Association, and it'll give you everything you need to know. Also, you need to get familiar with, you have to have your school bylaws. You need to know those, but also the meat and potatoes of the PAPTA is Chancellor's Regulation A660. You would find all the answers there that you need. Also, paptalink.org. It was a group of parents that got together in Brooklyn, and they started this website, and it's very informative. It has so many information that you need in regards to PAPTA, and we'll invite them this year again to come and share a little bit about. So let me go ahead and go. Just for district, myself, I'm the family leadership coordinator. Here's my information. And Jenny is also the oh, what happened to her? Family support coordinator. I don't know what happened to the rest of her thing. Anyways, that's her email and her phone number. So here at the District 25, both family leadership coordinator and family support coordinator, we intertwine. That means we cover each other and we try to help. So that way, if one of us happens to be out, the other one can pick up and just stand in. And so that's why every time you email me, every time you call me, I include Jenny so she learns, and so that we're both on the same page and we're able to ask, hey, what happened here? What's going on here? And we both could go ahead and give you the answers as quickly as possible. As you know, it's Happy Heritage, Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th. I hope you have good stuff to go ahead, share at your schools, what you did next month. The parent coordinators at our next parent coordinators meeting on the 29th will share with the district what they went ahead and did at their school to go ahead and celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. Let me go ahead and stop sharing. Give me 1 second. All right. 1 second, and I'll go ahead and share this information with Louis so he can go ahead and put it in. Let me go ahead and share again.
Folder.
Can you guys see me?
Yes, we see your screen.
Oops. Wrong one. Hold on 1 second as I. No, those are my emails. No. Okay, here we go. So, as you could tell, this is, how do I get rid of, okay, here we go. Thank you. This is our District 25, let me get this out of here. I'm sorry. This is our District 25 webpage. This is where you will find all information that you need to know about the district, home events coming up. So as you know, Dr. Mike is having the listening and learning tour. Tomorrow we will be at PS 214. It's in person. If you're around and you want to come in, please join us tomorrow at 6 p.m. at 214. As you could see here, the list, everything's here. If you need contacts, public meetings, public meetings, community education council meetings are every first Wednesday of the month. If you wanted to go to one of their meetings, you would simply scroll here, join, oh, this is DLT, I'm sorry. Community Education Council. So this is where you would go and see when's the next meeting for Community Education Council. And you could see here that the next meeting is Wednesday, October 4th. And it tells you, it's in person, and it gives you the policy and if you would like to join that. Also for our meeting, President's Council, that's where you would click. One thing that we ask for all people that are coming in to please click here, sign in sheet, go ahead and sign in. And via Zoom, this is where you would join. And the meeting documents, everything that Dr. Mike and I share will be here. And so if you scroll down, you're able to go ahead and do the attendance if you need help. This is a meeting schedule that I shared with you earlier. And over here is the board, President's Council Board, which I already shared. And it has all the way back to 21-22. Now, if you missed a meeting, this is our meeting, and you could go there and look at a recording. If you, if there's something important that you want to share with your PAPTA, instead of reading the meetings and you want to go ahead and share, you could click here and share the portion of the meeting that you would like to turn key information to your PAPTA. So also here you would find the district newsletter, all about us, which is what Dr. Mike shared. This is where you would find all the people that he talked about, and you could read all their bios and our schools. This is our schools, everything that you need to know about District 25, what schools, who's the principal. Now, you have a parent asking you who's the parent coordinator, you just click on that, the second tab, and it tells you right here who the parent coordinators at each school are. And so this is our district website, and I gave you that information. Now I'm gonna go again, Hispanic Heritage Month. If you want to do something and learn a little bit more, you go on the DOE website, and I want to go ahead and show you the DOE website now. Give me 1 second. So this is the DOE website. And when you click on the DOE website, the first thing you will find is a Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. You go ahead and click here. So you want to explore more information on it. This is all the information that they have. It gives you the history and why this is celebrated, who approved it, what year. And it goes ahead and tells you the dates and why they're celebrating Latin American nations such as Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and also Chile, Mexico, and Belize. And it gives you, you know, a little bit more in-depth information if you as a parent would like to know. I know that the kids are receiving some information, but as parents, sometimes we don't get all the information they get at the school, such as the background and the history. So you have all this stuff. There's things that you could go ahead and look at should you want to go ahead. But this is the Department of Education website, and it gives you anything that you want. So if we continue to look, it also talks about information about transportation. It gives you explore, you know, resources and guides. So what I wanted to show you here, you go on the little magnifying glass, you enter PA, and right away it's going to come out Parent Parent Teacher Association. That's us. So you will click on here, and you will have everything that you need to know about your PA-PTA association. Like what? Like what does PA stand for? Parent Association. What does PTA stand for? Parent Teacher Association. What is the main function of your PA-PTA? To advocate for students and the families, to update parents and families about the school, give them information, make sure that they know what's going on so nobody's left out. And you plan and run activities and fundraisers to go ahead for the families and kids. And PA-PTAs can support school in a number of ways, including hosting a parent workshop, organizing activities for family, both academic and social, raising funds, running volunteer events. And it gives you more information. It tells you who could be a member. Anybody that has a child that attends the school is a member of your PA-PTA. Parent, step parents, legally adopted guardians, foster parents, and person that are parental relations. So a lot of times, a lot of questions come up. Grandma's coming to school, grandpa, and they want to be part of the PA-PTA. Unfortunately, if they're not the legal guardian, they can help and volunteer, but they just can't run for a position. And it tells you here, officers of PA-PTA are responsible for the budget, events, activities. Officers are elected by membership annually. So PA-PTA is a 1-year term. So everything you need to know. Chancellor's A660 is here, and you could go ahead and click on that, and it will pop up. They have a resource folder, which has flyers and ideas. And should you ever need to file a grievance, you would come first to President's Council. What else? And this is just, I'm going to say this really quick. And so it is, the PTAs must hold 10 monthly meetings, general meetings, 10 executive board meetings throughout the year, and quarterly meetings with the principal. So you want to remember that people are self-governing, and you go ahead and work in conjunction with the school. So it is very important that you communicate to your principal, what is it that you're doing? What is your vision? What are you thinking about? And also that your board meets so that it could be better prepared to go ahead and meet the general the general, the rest of the PAPTA. So it's not a division just because there's an executive board and the other parents. You're all parents of the same school, and you're supposed to work in conjunction. Members must receive a minimum of a 10-day calendar notice. Make sure those get circulated and there's a meeting notice. And that's it. There's your bylaws here, which I know Rachel and the board we're gonna discuss. And every three years, your PAPTA bylaws should be updated, and we'll go into that in the future. Finances for the treasurer, parent leaders, PTA link. They even added it here. So this is the PAPTAlink.org that I told you about. Talks about President's Council. Okay, so that's, and you could find that at schools.nyc.gov. Let me see. And this is what your Chancellor's Regulation A660 looks like. So it tells you everything that you need to know about your PAPTAs, right? It gives you the summary, the table of contents, and go ahead. And some of the stuff is a little tricky, but you can always email us. If you email me or Jenny, we go ahead and send that email to your president, Rachel, and they go ahead and answer that, and then we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So it gives you a lot of information. It's really has a lot of information. So and it's you could go ahead and print it and have a copy in the office to go ahead and share. So again, I showed you where you could find your Chancellor's Regulation. And lastly, it's a PAPTA link, which is that organization that I told you that is connecting and supporting parents, organizations in NYC Public School. So it tells you about them, planning events, fundraiser, anything that you have questions, they go ahead and it's a really good website to use as a tool reference should you need it. Let me see what else. Let me go ahead and bring this down. Over here. Nope, that's it. No, that's just Title I. And let me stop sharing my screen. All right, I'm back.
Hey, thank you so much, Esther. That was a wealth of information. And I look forward to doing my best to support everyone. This is my first year as president of President's Council. I have some big shoes to fill since Francis was here for quite a few years. So I ask for your patience as I comb through the regs, the A660s, to get answers to any questions you might have. So thank you in advance for that. Also, so you don't have to go to the webpage to sign in. Lewis has put the link in the chat. So if you could make sure you sign in for tonight's meeting. And before I open up the floor for questions, I just wanted to give one quick update from something that was at CPAC. The meeting was last week on Thursday. CPAC stands for Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council, I believe.
Yes.
And one of the items that was brought up in the meeting with the Chancellor directly was the fact that the New York City Public Schools wants to change the current PAPTA emails that end in schools.nyc.gov to replace them with DOE.external.gov accounts or something along that line, and that each individual person on the PTA would have one. The co-presidents read a statement that strongly objected to this change because there are a lot of, for continuity purposes. Also, we don't want to have it's a PTA is an entity in of itself. So we don't want individuals, was the thought, to have individual emails. And then as far as for future boards, they wouldn't have access to that email chains that would be existing on an individual's personal, not personal email, but an individual PTA email. Also, a lot of the issues were surrounding some of the leaks of private information, and none of those leaks were as a result of anything related to PAs and PTAs. So it was something that was strongly objected to by the CPAC. And so that's something that the chancellor was going to look into and get back to CPAC in a timely manner. This was originally scheduled to take place in mid-October, within 30 days to eliminate for example, at our school, it's 25Q499PA at schools.nyc.gov. And that's also where we run all of our Zoom meetings from. We've already communicated the links to, our school community for that meeting. So there's just a lot of disruption, and especially at the beginning of a school year with all kinds of things that, we're dealing with and getting the new school year off to a smooth start. The timing was of concern to the CPAC members. So just giving you a heads up on that, and hopefully we'll have good news at the next CPAC meeting or even before if it becomes available. So I
did forget to mention that. So Jenny and I are we're going to attend a training to go to see how this is going to roll out. As soon as we have more information, it's my understanding that they want to go ahead and remove the schools.nyc.gov email from all the PAPTAs and the PAC, which would be for Title I schools, and give them another address. So once I have more training and more information, once Jenny and I will go ahead and get that information, we'll turnkey that information to your parent coordinator, and then at the next meeting that we have here, I'll share whatever we have, as I know Rachel will also share with you guys.
Okay, thank you, Esther. So now I'd like to open up the floor if anyone has any questions or they'd like to share some success stories as to how you've gotten the school year started off. So any activities you've held successfully. The floor is open for you. So you can either type in the chat or just unmute your microphone and speak up. Seems like we have a quiet group tonight, which means we'll be ending the meeting shortly.
Hey,
Okay.
Rachel.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, Carrie. How are you?
Good. Still trying to get my nerves under control always. I'm a horrible public speaker, including on Zoom. But I actually had a question about the agendas. I still haven't received anything from the old PTA. I'm meeting everybody on Wednesday, I believe, and our executive meeting is going to be held on when we do our general meetings, like same day, just beforehand. But as far as the agenda, do you have any recommendations? How, since my first time ever, like call to order, and then after that, I'm clueless.
So
in the A660, there is a template for an agenda, which, like you mentioned, would call to order, then approval of minutes, president's report, committees, etc., old business, new business. So I'm not sure what section of the chancellor's regs that is. If your bylaws are up to date, it should also be in your bylaws as well.
Okay.
So if you don't find it in the bylaws, the chancellor's regs definitely has that, because that's what I started using, because last year I did not inherit an agenda either. So I went to the chancellor's regs and found their recommended agenda and was able to use that and, edit it at times, because sometimes there wasn't always a principal's report, or maybe there wasn't an SLT update. But those are some of the things that you'll find.
Great. As far as the committee's report, I did see that section of it. I think it was H maybe, in the bylaw, I can't remember, but the committees, would that be SLT, or is that a separate entity?
That would be separate. The SLT would have its own bullet point on the updates. Committees would be something like if you had a fundraising committee, if you had an enrichment committee, a membership committee, volunteer committee, those types of things. At one point in our school, for example, we had an after-school committee that was working hard to bring in a non-paid, unpaid after-school program. Which
Okay.
so that committee would have updates, and then once the after-school program was brought in, that committee was dissolved by a vote of the membership. So those are the types of committees that would provide updates as to what's going on at the school in relation to those areas.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. You're doing
You're
amazing.
welcome. Oh, thank you. Anyone else?
Oh,
Somebody had raised their hand. Yes,
Actually, I
Christine.
wanted to add, Carrie, I actually like putting also important dates. So everything that's gonna happen within the school, I feel like that's, that's important to put in within the agenda. So I like to start off with yeah, so president's report would be, and then the important dates of what's happening within our school, whatever it is. If you have a school store, when is that going to open? If you have a show, when's that going to be within that month from like this PTA meeting to the next one? And it helps a lot because the main idea of the agenda is to keep everybody informed for that duration of time, right? That's where all the parents and the teachers, they come together to inform each other of what's going on in the school. Hence why, the president's report, parent coordinator report, and then some things it would be like, depending what you feel like your parents need. So I'm in middle school, so maybe for me, I would invite somebody who transitioned to middle school, somebody to speak about that. Or if it's like, again, I'm in middle school, so if it's about applying for high school, which is about June, I would invite like the guidance counselor to be like, hey, I'm the guidance counselor. If you need anything, little things like that. So that hopefully that helps you with thinking about the agenda. So, like if it's, kindergarten or first grade, whatever you guys need, whatever you have, I think that's very important to come in.
Thank you, Kristen.
There's a
Thank you.
question. Can I read the question, Rachel?
Yeah.
Says, hi, Esther, quick question. Grandparents are not allowed to hold a position on SLT if they are not the legal guardians of the child, right? Correct. Only parents are the legal guardians, correct. So a lot of schools call the district office wanting to know that they have grandma or grandpa that are very involved. They want to be part, they want to sit on SLT, and a lot of them want to hold a position in PAPTA, but unfortunately, they cannot. They cannot. I mean, they could volunteer, but they cannot hold a position. Hope that answers your question, Annie.
Anyone else have a question or a comment or anything they'd like to bring up to President's Council?
I know there was a question that came in from a school 193. Rachel and I are working on it to get you the answer, and we will reply to you as soon as possible. I don't know if you already did, Rachel, but we'll do it ASAP.
I gave part of my answer to you, but I don't know. I need help with part of the other answer. So
we're
the
working on
question,
it.
if 193 is here, the question in reference to having multiple fundraisers, and this might be of interest to others as well. The chancellor's regs specifically say there's no limit to the fundraisers as long as they're not outside of school hours. So the only limits placed on fundraising activities are during school hours. They can only be pulled out of class. I believe it's 2 times. Yes, thank you, Esther, 2 times. But besides that, you can have multiple fundraisers running at one time. That is not, it is allowed by the chancellor's regs. You're welcome.
And that you do it so the children won't lose on instructional time. So you don't want to keep having a fundraiser where you're asking the principal to let all the kids come out. So that's why they only let you do 2 like that, And if the picture day is one of your fundraisers, a lot of the picture day, it belongs to the school. That's one of their fundraiser, but some of them Some PAPTAs, it's their fundraiser, so that would be counted as one, where you're taking the children out of instruction to go ahead and do a fundraiser. It says here on the question, does each school have their own set of bylaws, or do we follow the standard bylaws on the PAPTA link website? Okay, so A660 is the chancellor's regulations, and each school has their own bylaws. So your bylaws, these are D25 school, you're not going to be able to see it, but these are the bylaws for our District 25. So you should have your bylaws that state here who's eligible to be part of your PAPTA. What are the dues of your PAPTA? And remember that it's a contribution, not a due, because there's some parents that can contribute, that they don't have the means to go ahead and give. You know your community best. So I wouldn't come into a school because I came from Manhattan and then ask for $700 or $900 donation because that's what you were doing in Manhattan. So you want to know and be sent, know your school community to see how much. And it doesn't mean that if a parent doesn't pay the dues or the contribution, they're no longer part of your PAPTA. Everybody's part of your PAPTA. It also says what the treasurer does, the recording secretary, the president, the term limits. It's only a year. Who's eligible to run. It gives you all, and it tells you the most specific thing about your school bylaws is that it tells you when you're going to meet. And some PAPTAs have 1 month they meet in the morning, and the next month they meet at night because they went ahead and surveyed their community. And it also tells you here, so as you notice on our agenda here at President's Council, it's the meeting, the order of the meetings for President Council. It's call to order, reading and approve the meetings, President's report, Treasurer's report, District Leadership Team report, which is usually our superintendent, committee reports, old business, new business, and adjourn. It says here quorum. Another thing on your school bylaws that is very important is your quorum. How many people have to be there so you can have a successful meeting? So here for President's Council, a quorum of at least 8 council members, including a minimum of 2 executive boards and 6 parents. So tonight we met that. We have all 3 of our board members here, and we have more than 6 parents representing different schools. So we do go ahead and we met quorum today. So just really quick, one more thing. Everybody's invited to this meeting. So if you want to bring your president, your treasurer, your whatever, everybody from your school is invited. But now if we were to have a voting, only 1 person from your school. I know there's some people that have more than 1 person here tonight from the same school. That means only 1 of you would vote. Not 2. The school doesn't get 2 votes. They only get 1 vote. But everybody's invited to come to this meeting. So that way, what information can you turn key? You could go ahead and tell your PAPTA that Dr. Mike's going around District 25 speaking. And if they want to learn more, they want to give them some advice, they want to give some input to the district, hey, show up. You know where to find what schools or where he's going to be at. What else? All the information that was given today on where to find information for your PAPTA. That's what you go and share with your PAPTA so they could know. Let's see. I thought I saw.
There was also a question in the chat about going back to the fundraising during school hours. So bake sales and school dances. Well, bake sales, yes, that would count towards the 2. Unless you have it during their lunch period, then that would not count because that's not taking out of instructional period time. And school dances, those would be more enrichment. Those aren't necessarily fundraisers unless you're charging for tickets. If you're charging for tickets as a fundraiser, then yes, that would count towards the 2 times. Correct, Esther?
Yeah. But a lot of the dances are after school, so you're not taking them out. So I believe you can have those, if it's after. Thank you, Louis.
And then the other question, is there any way that we can retrieve the school bylaw if we lost it? I guess you'd have to revise it based on the current chancellor's regs recommendation and get new approval.
So I could go ahead and look for yours, Angela. I do have, see what's the latest year I have, for your school. And then I could go ahead and email you. If I find anything, what's the latest I have. President's Council used to collect the bylaws, every year. Not every year, every other year. And so I do have some, but it's gonna be like 2018, 2019 date, but it's something better than nothing.
Okay, Janet, you have a question?
Yes, hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
My question is also regarding bylaws, so I'm glad that this came up. We are in the process of updating our bylaws. And we're going to use the template that I found on the website, but I just wanted to know, like, how much freedom do we have to change things or add things? And I know that our board has to vote on the changes, but do we have to get it approved by the President's Council, or like, do I have to do anything once we voted on the changes, and how much room do we have to, play around with wording and stuff like that?
Well, as far as the changes, they do have to be itemized, and you do have to go put them to the vote of your membership, not
Yes.
just the board. It has to go to
Oh.
the general membership.
Got it.
And you can have them vote for, if there's any areas of contention, you could have them vote on each individual change from the previous bylaws. If there's something that you want to change significantly, as long as it's not against the chancellor's regs. For example, this year or last year when we updated our bylaws, we added for the treasurer's duties that they also had to file the 990 in a timely manner, because that wasn't specifically outlined, and it wasn't in the template, but it was within the scope of the responsibilities of the treasurer. And then anything you'd like to add to what I said, Esther?
So just remember that anytime you amend your bylaws, you're introducing what you're gonna do, and then at the second meeting, you go ahead and approve. And so the first meeting, say tonight, I'm gonna change the meeting dates from every third Monday of the month. We have surveyed you, and now you guys want to have it every, I don't know, I'm just saying, I'm just making this up. Every Thursday, every third Thursday of the month. So now I will go ahead and introduce that to President's Council, that it was a survey done, and it is in the best interest of President's Council to have the meeting now every Thursday. So now you would open it for discussion. Everybody will go ahead and discuss, say no, yes, yeah. So then you go ahead and close it. Then the next month we would go ahead and vote on it. And that's
Okay.
to go ahead and give, time should people want to go ahead and comment, you go ahead and approve it by voting. I just want to go ahead and bring it up. Everybody we surveyed, everybody wants to move President's Council to Thursdays, third Thursday of every month, or second Thursday of every month. All those in favor, please say aye. Go ahead, you count, okay? Make sure that the secretary reflects that 21 people agreed to the meeting changing. You amend your bylaws, and that's it. That means that your school surveyed and you went ahead and changed the time and the meeting of your meeting according to what you surveyed your parents. It's not just the board decided to change it to every Thursday. It's everybody in collaboration or everybody in conjunction. And it's very important that you have that in your meetings if you change anything to your bylaws, because you don't know if somebody's going to say, well, I wasn't at the meeting. Nobody told me. I took the day off to come on Monday, and now you don't have the meeting. What's going on? Then you could say on September 18th, we brought it to vote. We discussed, and on October, whatever, we voted on it. Here's everything that you need to know. So.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's helpful.
And if you have any questions, you can always email us and ask us.
Okay. Thank you.
And mostly the amendments to the bylaws are your meeting times and your quorum. Like some people had quorum of 20 people when I first started here. And you're like, okay, so then they realize, like, let me bring that down. We could, chancellor's regulation only suggests 8. Why do I have 20? I know that you really want to have everybody there, but you really want to conduct business. So you want to bring that down to what it says. That's something, you know, so that's something you could go ahead and change easily on the bylaws. Or some PAPTAs were meeting at 6:30 in the morning. Some schools were, you know, having to find an AP to come and open the school so it wasn't accessible for all the parents to be there at 6:30 in the morning, you know? So you have, and so yeah, so not all school bylaws are the same because not all your school communities are the same. And if you need me to try to see what bylaws we have for your school, if you don't have the most recent, I'll look into in the pile and I could just scan it and send it to you. Whatever we find, if we have anything.
I have one
Thank you,
more.
Esther. Yes, go ahead.
Hi. I'm just wondering if any of you guys have ever worked on your audio system and like your auditorium. We're trying to find a vendor to help fix ours, and we're not having too much success. So I was just wondering if any of the other schools have ever worked with a vendor that was helpful to them.
I know that
Can you
our
define helpful?
projector had at 499 needed to be fixed because we had the town hall with the chancellor there last year or this January. If you want to email me,
Sure.
I can put my email in the chat and I can find out. I think the guidance counselor handled the process, but I'm sure he would be able to let me know.
Rachel, I might have it. Just remind me next time you're in the building.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hi.
Jen, what do you mean by helpful? Like cheap?
So,
Oh,
no,
it's
no,
not cheap.
not cheap.
Not cheap.
Just so we were supposed to we had a vendor who we contacted through a list of approved DOE vendors that we got. I forget, it was something with an A, and he seemed like a really nice guy, but
Right.
he didn't come on site to look at it yet. We've been sending him pictures, doing Zoom meetings.
Right.
And I know Mr. Swirsky was working with a guy, I believe his name was Stefan or Steven from the district, but I don't know how much progress they've made. So I just want to see if there's another vendor that somebody has used that has
Okay.
done it, you know, because
Okay.
I don't think we have any sound currently.
Right.
Okay, we'll see what we can do to get you some information for that, Jen.
Thank you so much.
And I'll
You're
ask
welcome.
here, our budget people, if they know any school, you know, not in this district, but other districts that might have had that issue, maybe they could suggest somebody.
That would be awesome too. Thank you. The more people, I mean, I guess we'll have to get a quote or somebody from different vendors would be helpful. So fine. Thank you.
And wait, we didn't get to introduce Rachel, Carrie, and Crystal. Ladies, can you introduce yourselves really quick? I'm sorry, this is backward, right? It was supposed to
better
be
late
during my
than never, I guess.
presentation, but I forgot.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Baltadano. I'm in my second year as the PTA president at PSIS 499, the Queens College School for Math, Science, and Technology. And this is also my second year here with President's Council with 499. Previously at PS 242, I was the President's Council designee for 3 years. So, but that was back in 2013, 2015, thereabouts. And I have 3 children, one in 2nd grade, one in 7th grade, and one in 10th grade.
Carrie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Barberi. I'm actually new to District 25. We moved here back in January from District 30, and I couldn't be happier with the move. My son loves his school. He has Dr. Jenkins in second grade G&T, and it's been going so well. And this is, I think I mentioned it before, my first time doing anything PTA. So I'm co-president for PS25, and now I'm the recording secretary for the President's Council, and very happy to be here. And I, again, am very, very new, so I'm learning so much. I'm going to drive Esther crazy, probably. I'm so sorry.
No.
But again, I'm so happy to be here and meeting everybody tonight, and looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Next, Crystal.
Hi, I'm Crystal from PS79. So I've been either co-president or president for 3 years there. I have 3 kids. One is a teacher herself now, and twins that are in second grade. So I've done this once a long time ago and once now. So this is my first year on President's Council, and I did it honestly because they needed me.
And just like at your schools, a PAPTA is needed to be in compliance. Here at the district office, we need a president's council. We need president or co-s, treasurers or co-s, or recording secretary or co-s to be in compliance. And I thank all 3 of you ladies for stepping up, and we are in compliance. So thank you so much for stepping up. And it's a learning. We're all going to learn together. I've been here a very long time, and I still learn. I'm still learning. So I see that there's more questions on the thing, and I just, let me see. I have a question about senior dues when it gets to me. Okay, what do you mean, Janet?
Okay, so I obviously know that we're allowed to ask for, PTA dues. But when I read through the 660 regulations, I couldn't find anything that says that we can or can't collect senior dues, but the administration from my school has not allowed us to collect senior dues from the 5th grade families. But I was wondering if there was anything in writing that says we are allowed, so that I could show it to them, and so that they feel safe with knowing that we are allowed.
I don't think there's anything on Chancellor's regulation. I know that a lot of schools have a 5th grade graduation or 8th grade graduation committee, and they're the ones that do the fundraisers to bring fund for that.
Yes.
That portion of in terms of charging dues or a certain amount, I don't know, but I need to ask.
Okay. But
Yeah.
I mean, if anyone else on this call collects dues, and
So
how do you
I
do
don't
it?
think as a PTA, we're not allowed to collect dues because we're like a nonprofit, right? So it's not collecting dues. It's like, oh, give me money so I can pay this. We're more fundraising. So think of it as like we can fundraise for this purpose, right? But we can't take money from you to pay for this.
Okay,
That's
so you
why-
think
yeah.
that you think it's true that we are not allowed to add?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just it's kind of like just like also like wording. It's also like not a donation, like it's you're paying a vendor for something, and we're just a nonprofit. Think of it like that. Yeah.
In my school, the 8th grade, not 5th grade, but 8th grade, the school itself collects dues to offset some of the expenses. Like the PTA will cover some expenses.
Yes, the
8th grade
school
committee
collecting it
covers
though,
other
right?
expenses, but the school does collect
Yeah.
dues on behalf of the 8th graders.
At
Yeah,
our
so
school,
as PTA, we can. Oh,
our
sorry.
school has 5th grade graduators, and at our school they have a fundraiser, and whatever is left over, the school will then collect dues, but
Collect
only
separate.
up to a certain amount. So it would be like a very minimal amount, say $25, $30 per family, something they know that families can afford. Then if a certain family can't afford it, or if there's money needed above and beyond that, then the school pays for it. So the main purpose is the fifth grade at our school would have to fundraise as much as possible to cover everything that the PTA does not donate to them. Then whatever they cannot fundraise for, the school then asks for dues. If parents can't pay it or don't have enough to pay, then the school gives the money that is necessary to cover the cost.
Thank you. There was something about, speaking of approved vendors, where do we get that list? I think Louis just put it on there. Oh, no. Louis just put on the chat the vendor that 499 mentioned in the auditorium to fix their auditorium. So he put the information there. In terms of where do you get a vendors list, your secretary, your secretary at the school who, oh my God, I just went blank on the title there. It's not the people accounting secretary, is
The
The
person,
procurement,
secretary.
the
yes,
procurement secretary.
sorry.
Procurement.
whoever
So
does
you could go
purchasing.
ahead and ask them, or many times you could just tell them, we're looking for this. What do you find? Because you enter it into the system and then a list comes out and. It says, I have only sent home donation envelopes. It is not mandatory for families to send anything, correct? Okay, so it says here, during our first general PTA meeting, we usually will hold a vote to decide if the school or PTA should decide how to handle the Title I fund. What does it involve if PTAs choose to handle it?
Wait.
So all Title I schools should have a PAC. That PAC should be meeting to discuss how they are going to spend their 1% money. What have they done in the past? Does the school want to continue to use those funds for that? Remember that the 1% for Title I schools is to be used to learn, not to host, breakfasts or, tea. It's to really do something to enhance the learning at the school. It's not for yoga or Zumba for the moms and dads. It's for you to have something across the board. It's not my rules. It's, and it's not that the PTA should decide. It's basically you should have a PAC person, which is your PAC chairperson, your alternate, and your secretary that attend the PTA meetings. They are to discuss and tell you, this is what our school has as 1%. This is an example. We have $50,000. So $50,000 or $20,000. And we would like to go ahead and buy books so that everybody, since the district is emphasizing in reading, we would like to buy books, multilingual books for all our families to read at home, or games that, it follows the district, what the district is going for, and it's reading or it's math. And we want all our school to be top notch when it comes to reading. And we have $5,000 or $10,000. So we, as your PAC people, want to go ahead and bring it to the PTA so that we can have a discussion and we can, what do you guys agree? Maybe somebody else is at 2 schools and might say, well, that's a great idea, but what about this? At my other school, they're using the money to bring, I don't know, Dr. Mike D'Antona, who's really famous and does reading. We want to hire him and he's giving us a deal. And, he's going to one school. Can we bring him over here? So now you have, it's going, like you guys are discussing what you're going to do. It's not that you decide, it's that it's a discussion so all your parents could take and partake on where you're going to spend that 1%. And like I told you, a lot of schools in other districts, they want to have, big breakfast and they want to bring all the parents to eat. And that's great. I think that's community and it's collaboration, but that money really needs to be used to go ahead and strengthen the foundation of your students at the school with the parents. So sending a few books or a few games that the parents could play at home, it's totally up to that's how you decide how your 1% is going to be spent. And talking about 1%, Title I schools will be having a meeting with me shortly. The beginning of October, you will receive an invitation And we need to have an election to go ahead and select a president, chair and alternate and secretary for the district office. So if you're Title I and you're here, please join me. The meeting's coming up. We have to set a date. And we're thinking October 11th. I hope that helped you, Angela.
Hey, there's been a lot of great questions tonight. First, it started off quiet, so I didn't know if we'd get any questions. You guys have really been bringing it. Any more before we end the meeting for September's President's Council? Yep.
I have one
Esther's
more
got her
thing.
hand
So I just wanted to tell you that as the PAPTA president, you are the designee for President's Council. In the event that something happens and you cannot attend the meetings on Monday, you could send your secretary or your treasurer to come and sit for you so that they could get all the information. And I just wanted to tell you that Rachel, your president, here at President's Council sits on our DLT, which is like your SLT, but here at the district is the district leadership team. So she sits on the DLT here at the district, and she also goes to I was going to say PAC, what
PAC.
is it? PAC, which is almost like
Chancellor's
Title I,
Parent
but it's a
Advisory-
chancellor's meeting.
Chancellor's Parent Advisory Committee Council.
Yes.
Council.
So she goes to all those meetings and then turns key and brings information to us like she did about the emails. Thank you, Rachel, for representing the district in all those meetings.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And that's it.
Okay,
I mean, on
there's
my end.
another question in the chat. Are there limits to the types of fundraisers not during school hours? Well, the main limit is regarding not having gambling. There's specific language in the chancellor's regs about like not having children sell raffle tickets, or students, I mean. Anything to add, Esther?
And you have on chancellor's regulation, it has a list there.
Yeah, like bingo is not allowed anymore.
Mhm.
Because it's considered gambling.
And also, if
I
you're
think you
having
can't
movie
sell it
nights,
to the kids. Yeah.
and if you're having a
Movie-
raffle, you're raffling a basket, money should not be touched by the kids. Also, if you're having movie night, you don't call it movie night, call it family night. You don't want Disney to come and sue you. You don't know who's working in your building that works at Disney, and then they're gonna be like, hey.
Yeah. It's lawsuits. You gotta think about
yeah.
lawsuits and stuff. You could call it like family fun night,
Exactly.
family out, like whichever, but don't call it movie night because if you're
Hollywood
selling a
night.
ticket to a movie, no, still, I think still that's the little
Yeah, Hollywood
thing.
night, they'll be
Just
like, what movie
stay
are you
clear, like,
playing?
wait, it's just playing on Hollywood, and then somebody comes from Hollywood, like, I'm suing you because you're selling tickets to a Hollywood movie. Yeah, you don't want that.
And just, I know. so
And you're not
Janice-
selling tickets to the movie, you're selling tickets to the
Yes.
popcorn or the water, you know,
Janet
that
just-
way you're
Janet just asked
covering your
for-
bases.
The night. Just call it
Yeah.
family fun night.
Yeah.
Janice just asked
Um,
for clarity in the chat about bingo. You can still play bingo, just can't sell tickets for bingo.
to bingo.
It could be free.
Free bingo.
Oh,
But you're
thank
bu-
you.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
does
So
help.
you
But you're
can't really
selling the
use it as a
water.
fundraiser.
You're selling the water
Yeah.
that represents the
There could be
tickets. No, I'm
snacks
just
there. There
joking.
could be other
Yeah,
stuff that
yeah.
you fundraise there. Bingo might just get them in the door, and then you just
Can
can't
you
sell
call it bingo night? I mean,
We've done we've done virtual bingo. So during like after one of our general meetings, just to get, try to boost the attendance, we'll have the kids come on and we do like Disney trivia or
So
some
call it
kind of
trivia.
bingo where the kids would win they would, if they won bingo, they would get like, a Scholastic gift certificate to use at our book fair or
As long as
Um,
there's no money involved, I would call it trivia night instead of bingo. You don't
Okay.
want somebody
safe
thinking
with
that
the
you're
words.
using the children and there's money.
But are we
Um,
allowed to give gift cards as a prize or should we stay away from that?
Like that were
It's not-
donated by
yeah, it matters.
businesses?
No, like the PTA would purchase them.
That's fine. I mean, it
Okay.
can't be over, like, you can't have $100, you know, it has to be something minimal,
Oh,
cause,
Yeah, you
no,
have to-
yeah,
yeah,
they're
you have to
usually
restrict the
5
limit.
to,
yeah, there
yeah,
has to
5
be
to
a small
$10.
limit.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
It says, Esther, I know my school is not in compliance. We are missing a recording secretary. Okay, so let me, the chancellor's regulation was changed a few years ago where before you had to have the 3, president, secretary, and treasurer to be in compliance. A few years ago before pandemic, that was changed. As long as you have one of them, you're in compliance. It was in accordance with President's Council then that we at District 25 will continue to push to get all 3 to not to have to worry about getting anybody in September so that the school could start and doing what they have to do without having to have an expedited election. So in your situation, you are in compliance because all you're missing is a recording secretary. You need to have that election as soon as possible and go ahead and have your parent coordinator update the system, the DOE system, and go ahead and add that person in. If you don't have a PC, your principal will go ahead and add that person. And the system's SPLCI. It's the school parent leadership contact something information, and that's where all your information for PAPTA goes. But you are in compliance because you do have a president and a treasurer. Thank you though, and I will write that down so I could have it. I know that there's some people that have had situations where somebody steps down. You just have an election and fill that seat up. Really quick, I just want to do roll call. IS 25, 21, 165, 499, 79, 194, 32. There's 2 people from 193, 185, 169, 184, 379, 163, 107, 130. There's 2 people here from 130, 219, and that's all I got. If I missed you, tell me what school. Thank you.
Did you say 194?
I did say 194. Yes,
I'm hearing, okay.
194.
I'm here.
I know there's some people that don't have names and I don't know what school you're from. Kimberly, I know you're from 130. Jessica Ortiz, I don't know what school you're from.
Okay, so
Thank you,
last call
Louis.
for
Louis just put the
questions.
chancellor's regulation on the link, I mean, on the chat.
I'm sorry.
What school are you from, Jessica?
It's MS 200.
I
Sorry,
couldn't hear
Jessica.
you.
Yes, MS 200.
Okay,
200.
welcome. Thank you for being here.
I'm sorry, could you hear me?
Yes, 200. Thank you, Jessica.
Okay, well, I want to thank everyone for a very productive meeting tonight. And we look forward to a good year of learning from one another and doing the best for all of our schools here in District 25. And so if there's no more questions, it is 8. Were you going to say anything, Esther?
Yeah, I just want to say there's 17 schools represented here tonight. Thank you, all of you, for being here. We hope that each meeting we have more and more schools represented. But thank you, all of you, for taking your time and being here. 17, that is a good start. So let's keep it going, and hopefully all 33 of our schools will be present at President's Council. Thank you. Sorry,
Nice
Rachel.
goal to shoot for. All right,
Yeah.
so it's 8:07. I'm going to adjourn this meeting and thank you all for your participation.
Have a great
Well,
night,
Have a good
everyone.
night.
Bye.
Good night,
Take care.
everybody.
Have a good night.
Well, stick
Bye.
around if you guys have any questions. Bye, Dr. Mike. Bye, Louis. Thank you. And we go ahead and stop the recording now. Let me see. Recording stop.